Okay, the school board, our main responsibilities are we hire the superintendent and ensure that he follows policy and educates the children the best possible way. Also, is our responsibility to set policy for him to follow. And then there's our responsibility to approve a budget. Now, according to state legislature, state law, that's our responsibility. That's really all we're allowed to meddle in. We're not allowed to deal with any school-based employees, any decisions on who's hired and who's fired and things of that nature. Each board member represents a district, although in actuality, every school belongs to every board member. We don't have specific schools, even though we have in our district. Now, school board members, you generally, your constituents in that district are going to contact you about things to take care of at the specific schools in your district. So you try to ensure that you get your share of the money, of capital projects money, to get things taken care of in your district, upgrades, and make sure your kids in your district get their share of whatever's offered as far as educational materials. Okay, I've been on the board for 10 years now. When I first got on the board, I had no experience with a budget of this size. And I spent a good bit of time with our Chief Financial Officer, Jim Lee, and over the years, investigating this budget, looking at it, I have come to understand a good bit of it, although I'm not an expert on this budget. What I see about the budget is our biggest concern is our MFP increases each year, which we are supposed to get by state law, were 2.5% increase in minimum foundation program funding every year. We haven't had a regular increase in the last 10 years. We've had some supplemental increases a couple of years, but regular increases, it's just graded as they're supposed to come. So that puts us probably about 15% behind our funding, which we would have. So that gives us a situation where we're always fighting being in the red. We are. But our financial department has a good job on balancing the budget. Superintendent has done a good job on utilizing the funds. And as long as we just got to operate within our budget. Now we have fluctuations in property tax and sales tax revenue, which either helps us or harms us, which we have to adjust that time. But it is quite a large budget. And we have a group of people on the board. We've got business people, we've got people that have been in business, people that have owned businesses, then we got school teachers. So a conglomeration of the work gives us sort of a broad spectrum of looking at the budget and making good decisions. Okay, this transformation zone that they've initiated for our underperforming schools, they are working well. We hired Billy Snow at the beginning. He worked and set that transformation zone up, and now he's since moved on to be a superintendent of a school in Texas. But I think if I'm not right, Marvin Alexander's taking care of that program now. And they are doing an excellent job to bring these kids in these disadvantaged schools and disadvantaged neighborhoods up to speed. Now, the thing is, what took years and years to develop, in other words, lack of academic success, can't be repaired in just a couple of years. It takes a while, it really does. And I think that transformation program is working very well. Programs that aren't working well, to be honest with you, I really don't know of any. I don't know of any. Okay. But our main goal, we've got schools like in my district, we got North Caddo High, which is the top gains high school in the parish the last 2 years. I mean, they're just doing amazing. I've got Blanchard in my district, which was the top non-magnet elementary school in the district, and we've got. And these were schools that were country schools that weren't doing as well, and they've moved way up, and you've got the schools in the city, some of them are just doing real great. So we're making progress. We're doing well in Caddo Parish right now. Unfunded liability of the retirement issue. Now I'm going to be real honest on this. I don't know how to fix that. Okay, what I do know is the more retirees we get, the worse it gets. I think probably what's going to happen, legislatures, they're going to have to do some reorganization, that financing of that, and dedicate some funds to that, because it comes back upon the district. It falls on us. And we have an enormous amount of unfunded liability and responsibility. We also have issues where retired teachers coming back to work all over the state. When a retired teacher come back to work, they have to wait a year, then they can come back. But when they do, they have to dispense with their retirement, is what they do. And then you have to pay, they have to continue to pay into the system. Well, we've got some situations around where boards have not taken care of that, and they're not contributing back to the system. It's fallen through the cracks, so it puts it back further. I'm straight, I don't know how to fix that. I think that's something that's going to have to come from the legislature. Now, as far as health care, we've got Randy Watson, who has done a real good job of negotiating with the insurance companies and stuff and such. In the last couple of years, we have decided to go self-insured, which based on Obamacare, that kept us grandfathered into the benefits which we had. And we've got, we got good insurance, great insurance, and they've been able to preserve that for us. But I'm just honest, I don't know how to fix that unfunded liability, that retirement system. Okay. We've had a number of school closures. We've had 2 in my district. One was Halston. Now, in the process of closing Halston, what we've done is basically we've taken ourselves out of the alternative school market, which I think was a good move. We've invested in AMI Kids and an ombudsman program to deal with those rather than us dealing with them. Because what happened before is that when kids would get put in an alternative school, say up at Halston, we had a big one up there, Nancy Sandage was the principal, and I talked to her. She said, these kids, if they get expelled from school down to, say, at Northwood or North Caddo, they're just tickled to death come up here because all their friends are here. And it's just fun time. And we've also closed Oil City in my district. Now, closing schools is one of my main concerns about closing schools. And like you say, the demographics don't fit. It's changed over the years of where people live and what ethnics live in what area and this and that and other. One of my biggest concerns is when you close a school, what do you do with the facility? Just like we demolished the Rodessa School last year. It had been closed for 40 years, sitting up there just totally falling down, just a big eyesore. If we continue to close schools, then what do we do with the facilities? Also, schools were, just for instance, I went to Fair Park High School, graduated in 1965. It was a 10 through 12 school grades. There were 2,000 students in that school, okay? 695 in my graduating class. Now, based on the student ratio, back then you have 40, 50 kids in a class. Now you can't do that anymore. So you've got schools out there that can't house as many kids because of the student ratio that's required now. So actually we've got more schools than we would have needed back years ago, but we still need those schools to take care of the kids. That's what we do. But closing schools is tricky, especially with a community like that. We had the proposal a while back and maybe close, pertinent to my district, okay, was Timmons, and the community just went, they upheaval bad. But anyway, closing schools is a difficult subject, but we've been addressing it. My responsibility as district, when I first was elected to this board, and I traveled the area up in North Caddo Parish, all I heard was this, is that Caddo Parish Schools does not care about us. We're up here, nobody's done anything for us for years, they've just ignored us. And so I set out, I said, well, let's see if we can do something about that. So we've had a large improvement in districts, such as we've gotten a lot of capital projects done. Like North Caddo, for instance, we've had the old principal's house torn down. We've had new bleachers put in the gym, in which it didn't meet high school standards. We had new bleachers put in the gym. We've had the library remodeled. We've had the student parking lot redone. We just got through doing a whole new career center up there and everything. In Northwood, we've put new scoreboards up at the field. A lot of it's athletic things. We've put new softball bleachers and okay, we can list a whole bunch of things. As far as the district goes, my situation, I don't control personnel there. I've given my 2 cents worth, and we've ended up with very good administrators in our schools up north. Now, as far as the district-wide goes, every board member has to support the other board members in their districts. If there's needs, because see, the thing is, I've got kids in my district, I got 100 kids going to Byrd. I've got maybe that many going to Magnet High. So as a whole, we're dealing with spreading the revenue sources out, which we have fairly through all the district, and supporting the other board members. And support the superintendent and his staff, what they do, because they're the experts is what we do. When I first got on this board, and Dr. Dawkins came up with what he called Vision 2020, and when he unveiled it, the board was kept in secret about it, and it was to close like 10 schools and do this and do that and do this, and 5 of the schools were in my district. A lot of people blame me for that. I really caught the heat on that one, I really did. Because for one, I went and had some community meetings, and as I was told there would be no RIF and no layoffs, but there were. And I had some articles written ugly about me in the Inquisitor and things of that nature, but the only thing I knew to do was just keep working and keep your mouth shut. And I also had a little thing when they closed Oil City. Some people were not real happy with me on that, but I just had to let them know that it was a fiscal responsibility to do that. It was necessary that we had to do it. Okay. Priority school board member. Okay, one of my priorities as school board member is transportation department. It's sort of in limbo right now. Mr. Jones has got some major health issues, and I'm hoping that staff will seek a transportation director, a professional transportation, a professional transportation specialist, because this is we got 350 buses and 600 routes. It's a major issue, and it's something that I think we need a major transformation in. We need a real professional running that department, and that's something that several of the board members and I've talked about, and we've also discussed that with the superintendent. Now, like I say, his decision on who he hires is his decision. We've just given our input, but that's one of the things. The other thing is that I think we need to do is retain teachers. Okay, we put almost 250 new teachers in this year, and had a new teacher summit out there at LSU, and indoctrinated them and tried to get, to help them and tell them we want them to stay. But we need to work to put more situations in place to retain teachers, either through pay or benefits or promotions or opportunities for further education or that's probably my two main things, is transportation and retaining teachers. No, other than I have enjoyed serving on this board. I mean, some people say, why would you want to do that? But and I've got a brother-in-law who's on the Bossier Parish Police Chair. In fact, he's the chairman this year, Glenn Benton. And I told him he was at graduation, at Northwood's graduation. My granddaughter graduated, and when I got through, I said, "Isn't this more fun than potholes and drainage?" But no, I've enjoyed serving the board, and I've been very blessed in working with staff, and they've supported me just amazingly up in North District about getting a lot of things done, putting good staff in there, capital projects. I mean, they've helped me a lot. They really have, and I've been grateful for that. So see, I grew up there. I attended all these schools. I went to Blanchard. My sister went to Blanchard. My kids went to Blanchard. We all went to, and my grandkids did that. All my kids went to Northwood, and my sister went to Northwood. The grandkids went to Northwood. One's graduated, one's fixing to graduate this year. And it's just, and the principal, Shannon Wall, he grew up with my kids. I mean, I know everybody up there, and and my wife graduated from North Caddo, so it's been I've been so vested in this community. It's just been a joy to serve them. It really has.